Subtitles. Did you hear a body vanished from the hospital by day? A real drama. Her friend Huan Mao asked Lao Yan the body turned up at her place. Huan Mao was baffled, thinking her body was gone. She rushed to Lao Yan's home and was relieved to find the girl safe and sound. Huan Mao was a bundle of nerves. To prove it wasn't a hallucination, she decided to peek at the girl's leg, and one glance sent her over the moon like a kid in a coming back from the dead. Now that's a scientific puzzle. Lao Yan pleaded with Huan Mao to keep this under wraps for the sake of the girl's safety. If outsiders knew the girl had risen from the dead, she had become an experiment subject. She saw through Huan Mao's thoughts and told Lao Yan. She claimed she already saw through Huan Mao's secret, and the moment she walked in, decided to help this quirky duo. Lao Yan was as excited as a kitten, convinced the girl was a mind reader. She started an experiment and found out the girl was spot on. So Lao Yan put on her glasses, begging the girl to continue showing off her superpowers. The results were crystal clear. Poor girl, once her eyes were covered, her powers vanished. At that moment, Lao Yan got an emergency call. Her ex-wife and kid were arriving soon, and Lao Yan was as frantic as a cat on a hot tin roof, having to leave the girl home alone. Not wanting her ex and kid to be suspicious, Lao Yan even named the girl Julie. Julie sensed Lao Yan's anxiety, blaming his ex, then shot a sad look at him. Lao Yan shivered, feeling like she was missing some critical app in her brain, but time was of the essence, so she hurried off. Julie had a hunch that some big shots were about to arrive, so she eagerly stood at the door waiting for them. The first meeting between the current girlfriend and the ex-wife was painfully awkward, especially since the current girlfriend was wearing the ex's old dress. When the ex saw Julie in her old dress, she didn't take it lightly and handed her a document insisting Lao Yan sign it quick. Julie had super sleuthing powers and could read minds. Seeing a secret in the file, the ex was trying to sell the house for profit. Julie glared angrily at her ex upon taking the document. The ex coughed due to a throat tickle. Then the ex-wife abandoned the child and fled. Upon returning, Lao Yan saw the document and asked who left it. The kid said Mom asked her to sign. Lao Yan understood, but knew who gave birth to the kid. She realized it was all July's doing and got angry, wanting to get back the memory Julie had taken. Julie noticed Lao Yan wasn't happy and obediently returned the memory. She meant no harm, just wanting Lao Yan to be joyful. However, the sudden appearance of the ex made Lao Yan's mood sink even lower, and she realized she could hear the ex singing. She yelled at Julie, "What else did you take?" Julie remained silent and just stared at Lao Yan. At that moment, Lao Yan seemed to connect the dots. Julie could not only read minds but also steal memories. Remembering the earlier song, Lao Yan realized that Julie had stolen the ex voice, and she was quite the famous singer. Stealing her voice is like taking her life. Ex is prepping a concert. Return her voice fast. Lao Yan blitzed to the venue with Julie, where the ex was panicking over her lost voice. Anti-umat ed letter 3ca plus or minus spawn 3 omat mf3 omat until the letter 2 bdc with letter 4 abc sedilla acute turn direct reflex a quarter w ograv umat io or till the circumflex o umat the circumflex u acute omat u copyright. Lao Yan spun a tale that the ex believed, and she quickly took off her glasses, giving Julie the perfect chance to work her magic. The ex successfully reclaimed her voice, and on the way home, Lao Yan received an urgent call, rushing off to save someone. They quickly arrived at the scene, but Julie suddenly sensed something was off and asked how the woman fell. While asking, they nearly got in trouble. The man said his wife fell from the second floor by accident. But the girl had a vision. The husband, drunk, was arguing with his wife and, in a fit of rage, pushed her off, watching her neck snap, and the husband even had a smug smile on his face. Lao Yan knew Julie was onto something and immediately alerted the police. Since they couldn't let anyone know about July's resurrection, when the police arrived, she could only say it was a hunch. Solid evidence was hard to come by. So they decided to investigate on their own. It was like a quest for the Holy Grail. But suddenly Julie sensed there were more victims. There were at least 2 women's bodies in the river. The guy tossed barrels with bodies into the lake, and once they sank, he happily skipped away. Julie knew she was now the target, and urged Lao Yan to run. It was a psychotic demon they were dealing with. After all their troubles, Lao Yan wasn't about to let the demon just waltz away. She assigned Julie a nail bite. As soon as the demon left, they rode to the lake center. The murky water was no obstacle for their all-powerful Julie to verify the number of bodies. Julie dove in headfirst, and Lao Yan panicked, frantically shouting her name. To their surprise, her leap caught the demon's attention. Lao Yan tried to call the cops, only to find her phone had been snatched. After 10 tense minutes, they feared Julie was lost, when suddenly a hand stretched out. They were trapped in the demon's lair. Under Lao Yan's relentless questioning, Julie revealed that there were 5 women's bodies at the bottom of the pond. They were all stuffed in barrels by the demon, and after a long soak, their bodies had become unrecognizable. That's when Lao Yan had a light bulb moment. She told Julie to use her powers to steal the demon's murder memory that might be their ticket to freedom. Julie countered that this wouldn't work. If she transferred that memory and couldn't find the target, she'd be consumed by the evil. Before they could strategize, the demon charged in at life and death. Julie decided to go all in. She stared into the demon's eyes, about to unleash her skill, leaving it dizzy.